Welcome, everybody, one and all, to the September 13th, 2020 Concord-Carlisle Catholic Collaborative Youth Ministry Muster. It's a live stream if you're watching us on Sunday evening, September 13th at 7 p.m. But like with all of our previous live streams, this will remain on the CC Catholic Community YouTube channel, and you can tune into it at your own time and space on whatever device and wherever it is that you'd like to do that. For those who do not know me, as you can see at the bottom of the screen, my name is Mark Callahan. Pleased to be now finishing 1 year as the youth minister of the Concord-Carlisle Catholic Collaborative. And boy, what a year it has been. When I arrived 1 year ago this week, you may recall we had a triple E threat in our two communities of Holy Family and St. Irene Parishes. They were asking people not to be out at dawn or dusk or twilight because you might get, triple E from a mosquito. Boy, if we only knew then what the year would hold. And of course, 2020 has been an interesting journey. We never would even be doing these live streams if it was not for the worldwide pandemic. So certainly we are very sensitive to how much is different than what we might have anticipated a year ago at this time. And as we try to bring together a youth ministry program, a peer ministry group of high schoolers who are going to lead and model that youth ministry program, a middle school youth ministry program, as well as bring together the two confirmation programs of both of the parishes into one shared program. Gosh, we got a lot on our plate, especially when you consider that it's hard to even gather as people anywhere beyond the safety of our own home. So first of all, we say we hope you are well. We hope that as this school year gets underway, some got underway within this last week or two. We still have a couple schools who we do serve in our parishes that are not quite started until next week. Regardless, we say good luck with your academic year, whether you're a student, faculty, support, administration, or a parent or a sibling. All of those roles are so critical, especially where schooling is so different in today's world. So just hang in there, be careful to be patient. As our pastor, Father Frank Silva, always says, let's move forward with patience and cooperation. So we hope you and your loved ones are well. We hope that your adventures as school and even some sports and activities are starting to emerge. And even some of our church activities are beginning to emerge, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in this evening's muster. As we go forward, this is just sort of a sample. We hope to grow and make this more dynamic and obviously bring more people into it, just like we did back in the spring, but we'd like to get a lot of our youth involved as well, and we'll talk about that in a little while. But please don't look at us as a production company. We're not a professional operation. We're just doing the best we can, in addition to trying to do some in-person stuff as well. And we're trying to minister to families and people in need. By all means, if there's ever a time that we can serve you or your families pastorally, or you need to reach out and talk with someone, or you need any kind of support, please let us know. That's what we're here to do in Christ's name. Don't look at our production efforts as, how we do as church. We're just doing our best to reach the people who perhaps are remote, are not yet able or willing to come together in a safe gathering spot. And it's just unclear at this point, and everyone's got different statuses, so we've got to be respectful. But for those that can come together, great. We'll start to do those steps as well. So hopefully this will be just something to tide you over and also sort of springboard off of. So some people have been asking, why are we calling it a muster? Well, it's really not youth group when you really stop to think about it. We're really not coming together physically, but we are gathering. So let's take a look at what the definition of muster really is. Muster, of course, is very famously used in revolutionary days, and of course we come from two revolutionary towns and neighboring communities as well. And you can see on the screen there, yes, the revolutionary and militaristic style definition would be perhaps number one, where it says, assemble your troops, especially for an inspection or in preparation for battle. And you may think to yourself, wait a minute, this is a church show. What am I getting in for here? But the answer is, the world is kind of crazy right now. There are opinions flying every direction, and sometimes if you speak up, you get shut down immediately or ostracized, and sometimes that happens even without speaking up. So really, we do go into battle every day, and in the name of our church and in the name of our Savior and our faith, we are ultimately preparing to bring our Christian values to the world and to be able to stand up confidently. So it's a different type of battle, right? You see down a little bit below there, come together for inspection or preparation. So it's an opportunity to sort of do an inventory, if you will, about where we're at as we head into the week. What's our self-esteem? What's our self-confidence? What's our level of Christianity? But you see, as you keep going down there, it's a group of people gathering together, or definition number 2, to collect or assemble a number or an amount, to summon up a particular feeling, attitude, or response. So in essence, we're rallying together, and it's open to anybody, and it's also an opportunity to do a self-inventory as well as a communal inventory of where we are as a faith community and as family of families, and whether we're caring for the most vulnerable and those out there who need us the most. So thought it might be kind of neat to call it a muster. It also, harkens to our revolutionary town flavor that hopefully we can do that. But you can also muster up a vote count. You can muster up the courage and so forth. So really, it's all of the above. And we hope you'll join us for these each Sunday night at 7 p.m. We're going to try to have some irreverent fun. I know I showed this graphic in the spring, but it's still pretty true. Something that we have to remind ourselves as followers of this Christ is to catch up with Jesus. Let us praise him and relish him. I mean, it's play on words, of course, because he loves me from my head to my toes. And we want to try to bring out some fun. And yes, at Mass, we're a little bit more serious and solemn. But when we're at the muster or we're doing social events and so forth, yeah, we want to have some fun. And if you ever have any kinds of stuff that you want to do as well. This one, of course, is funny, and it's not funny all at the same time. But hopefully with a little bit of a cheerful spirit, we can look at it not from the scary or the, gee, that's off color, but in essence, we have to remember that, yes, the world is different, and going forward for the foreseeable future, we need to look out for each other and make sure we're all doing the necessary social distancing and safety techniques, which will keep us all safe and also make it possible for us to come together again and not just stare at a screen all the time. So if you ever come across any memes or any kind of short videos or anything like that you want us to utilize, then we love to put them into these little muster live broadcasts. You can see here too, we're going to have some updates right above. There's always like a little caption that I throw in here, but way above that you see the picture with Jesus, and that's Peter, or actually no, that's Cleopas. I'm sorry, that's Cleopas, and no, that's not true. It is Peter. From today's Gospel from St. Matthew chapter 18. Today is the 24th Sunday in Ordinary Time, and that's the Gospel story of Peter. So there's Peter with Jesus, and Peter says to Jesus, how many times should we forgive somebody, like a brother or a sister or a friend, when they sin against us? And in today's Gospel he says, do I have to forgive them up to seven times? Like a cat has 9 lives, do we have to forgive 7 times each time they do us wrong? And Jesus very strongly comes back in today's Gospel and says, no, not 7 times, 70 times 7 times. That's a lot of times. So, it's a great reminder as we enter this. Hopefully you'll be forgiving of the production quality of these until we can kind of perfect it or whatever, and look at the spirit behind it. And also look to the different ways that we can be Christ to one another, even in these COVID and coronavirus times. But I want to give you a couple updates, and this one's very exciting. Peer ministry, we did put out applications back in the spring, and then the Archdiocese asked us to cease and desist gathering and activities over the summer months. But now, since Labor Day, with some very careful safety measures in place, we can proceed with caution. And in this past week, literally this past week, 27 of our high school parishioners have made good on their applications. They have interviewed, and we have 27 peer ministers from the high school grades of varying high schools, Concord-Carlisle being best represented, of course, but we have other schools involved as well. Not just the towns of Concord-Carlisle, we have some neighboring communities who have also joined our peer ministry corps. And I just want to highlight that applications remain open, and they will at least until Thanksgiving this year. Rolling acceptance, so you can apply and join the team. If you're of high school age, even if you're homeschooled, doesn't matter what high school you do or don't go to, you could be home or private school, public school, it doesn't matter. You just have to be the right age. You have to have a willing and open mind and heart. It's open to anyone in grades 9, 10, 11, and 12. That's new this year. It used to just be juniors and seniors, but we've opened it to freshmen and sophomores as well. We have a brief, we call it an interview, but it's really a 10-minute conversation just to kind of lock you into the groove of what direction we're heading, and we get a sense of you and your spirit and what you bring to the team as well. It's going to be a little trickier with coronavirus and some of the restrictions, but our peer ministers will be people in the community we look up to as models of faith and models of how to live the Christian life, how to be a regular everyday person who lives life to the full without constantly being, a cloistered monk or nun or someone like that. It's possible to be all of the above. And you don't have to live in compartments. We want your Christian faith to come to life in everything that you do and everywhere that you go. We have 8 different areas of our youth ministry programs as we get going this fall and into the year ahead, and our peer ministers are going to help us with those. The 3 biggies up front would be obviously how do we pray and how do we worship. Obviously as church and as family of families, we come together in that exact way. So we're going to figure out how we pray and what we need to pray about. What are the different intentions that we and our community need? Evangelization, how do we get the word out about our faith and how much fun our faith can be when we live it to the full? Community life, we'll focus on fellowship and social activities and just coming together and hanging out and just being around people of like values and different same traits, if you will, about living the journey of life, the ups and downs of life. We'll talk about advocacy. We have some really cool ideas, and we're looking for more of ways that we can specifically target issues that involve our youth, our high school youth, and also our middle school youth as distinct groupings within the parish community. Catechesis, how do we learn about our faith as well as share and help others to learn in their faith as well. Everybody loves community service and justice issues, inequality. The world today has all kinds of different ways that we need to bring Christ's love, unconditional love to one another. Make sure that everybody is respected and loved, and that we remember the story in Luke's gospel of the one sheep of the 100 that may go astray. And we need to put our attention toward whatever the weak and vulnerable of that moment may be. So justice and service. We'll talk about ongoing regular community service. We'll also talk about long-range community service trips, and hopefully when coronavirus subsides or vaccines are in place, we might be able to put together a long-range service trip like in the past. We'll talk about pastoral care. What do we do when you get sick or you get injured or you're going through anxiety or depression or you have some other issues with church teachings or morals, or you're confused with, I can't believe in this God I don't yet see, or maybe my relationship with God is not as strong as I might want it to be. Or today's gospel, I'm having trouble forgiving somebody 70 times 7 times. They keep hurting me. Should I stay in that relationship even though I'm getting hurt? How do I forgive them? What's that all about? So pastoral care. And then, of course, all throughout, our youth ministry will focus to increase our leadership skills, not only within our local community, but for the rest of our lives, so that we're able to be strong and very reliable members of society, contributing positive members of society going forward. So those are the 8 areas that our activities are all going to be found in, and our peer ministers are going to gear up to try to hit the ground running, as well as to sort of share the load. And some will focus on service, some will focus on fellowship and social, some will focus on pastoral care, some will focus on issues important to teenagers and so forth. So you get the idea. I'll tell you about the retreat and ongoing stuff coming up, but basically our plan with peer ministers is they're going to come together on a regular basis as often as they can, in addition to modeling the faith for others. But one of the most exciting things is coming up 6 days from this live stream as we tape it. On Saturday, September 19th, we have an afternoon kickoff with those 27, and if more join, because it's open application, so it's still possible. It's not too late for you, if you're of high school age, to become a peer minister by the time we do our kickoff 6 days from now. Like I said, the application process will stay open through at least Thanksgiving this year. If you don't make it in 6 days to the kickoff, that doesn't mean you're excluded. It just means you're not there for that first step. But we could not be more excited, especially after all these months of coronavirus. We cannot wait to actually come together. So we're going to have an outdoor kickoff on Saturday, September 19th in the afternoon. And they need your help. We've got a lot of cool ideas, especially now that we have to sort of change them up for the coronavirus and how we're going to meet protocols and so forth. But we've heard everybody loud and clear. They're getting tired of virtual stuff. I mean, this is hopefully helpful for once in a while. But we also need to do some in-person stuff. And there are real needs in the community as well. For instance, our masses. We need to sanitize the church before and after each time people come and go from the worship space. Right now, I'll be honest with you, we don't have any high school students helping with that. And we really need to get a steadier stream of some youth who are willing to take that on. After all, most of the science data says that the young are usually stronger than perhaps our older folks who are more vulnerable to the virus, especially with pre-existing health conditions. So we'd really love to get some of our folks involved. So that's the type of stuff, we need to try to do. And the peer ministers will be meeting Saturday to put that in some of our immediate sort of out-of-the-gate social and service type activities, and also maybe some advocacy and some prayer and worship kind of stuff as well, small group kind of things where folks can come together around a particular theme. So send your ideas. You see the email address at the bottom of your screen right there, YM for Youth Ministry at CC, Concord-Carlisle, Catholic.org. YM at cccatholic, excuse me, .org. I'm choking. Send your ideas. We would love very much to bring those brainstorms into the mix. I'm going to take some iced coffee here. I'm sorry. Duncan has provided a delicious beverage. A little bit raspy. My bad. So there you have it. What do you want to do? You want a big capture the flag tournament out in the woods? You want to go disc golfing? You want to do a scavenger hunt? You want to play kickball? You want to play ultimate frisbee? You just want to hang out in the field at Emerson? Who knows? Sky's the limit, but while we've got some decent weather and before school really gets super serious, this is a great chance for us to try to find safe and proper ways to come together and just hang out and have some fun, and then from there do some service and branch out to those other 8 categories that I mentioned a moment ago. Obviously, you can see over there too in the rest of your screen, you see the 2 steeples of our 2 parishes. The larger and the darker blue of those steeples is the exact silhouette of the Holy Family steeple, and then the sort of lower and the lighter color blue is the St. Irene steeple. I don't know if you knew that about that logo, but it's on our bulletin and our websites and so forth. And down below is one of our Concord-Carlisle Youth Ministry logos there. I don't know if you know it, but of course you got the cross. In the middle is the heart of Christ from his sacrifice for us, dying for our sins. The CC representing our towns that we represent. The YM, they're people, but it's also youth ministry, adults and youth working together for the good of the building up the kingdom in this time and place. And you can't really tell, but down at the bottom of that logo, that's supposed to be a Tricon hat that was worn by the Minutemen back in the original days. It kind of looks like a dirt pile, but it's actually supposed to be a Tricon hat. So help us. Send your ideas to that email address, and we would love very much to incorporate it into our brainstorm next week, because we're going to hit the ground running with some schedule stuff right out of that Saturday. We, of course, will need some adults to support, so if you have some parents, or perhaps you're an adult, or maybe you're a college student that your school is not meeting in your home, doing college remotely, and you're in the area still, maybe you're not in college because you're taking a gap year, or who knows. Or maybe all your kids are grown and flown and you're a grandparent and you just value a quality youth program. The youth ministry team is needed, and of course in today's world there's all kinds of protocols which call upon, being prepared. You have to be screened and approved and all that sort of stuff and paperwork and you name it. It's not a big deal. It's just you can't show up and expect to serve right on the spot. So we got to be a little more prepared about it. And obviously, I know you're not living under a rock, so you can probably estimate that. But we're hoping to have every third Wednesday of the month, and that's coming up this week. It's been in the bulletin the last couple of weeks, which you can always get the bulletin online as well as at church. But every third Wednesday of the month, it's a chance for fellowship among the adult youth ministry team comprised of parents and all those other categories I just mentioned. This month, we're going to do it virtually. If you want the link to that meeting, simply email me at that email address, and I'm happy to include you in. And you can just come check it out. There's no commitment, so to speak. You can help steer, offer your hopes and dreams, sit back and listen, and let us know what you think of the direction we're going. Help us build our plan and steer our ideas as we go forward as well. We always encourage you to stay in touch with us. And I know that we've told you this stuff before, but it's going to become even more important this year. As we enter this new academic year, we have new ways we want to stay in touch with you. There's the email address, as I mentioned, ymyouthministry@cccatholic.org. But you see the text, the CC Catholic to 84576. That's our flock note. It's a safe and approved, archdiocesan approved method to text as well as to email and send out polls. We can send out RSVPs. We can send out events. We can send out late breaking news. We can send out a graphic or a picture or a short prayer or an adjustment to a schedule. So Flocknote is going to be our pivotal and most notable means to communicate. It is safe for youth. Parents have the opportunity of receiving every message that their youth receives, but we strongly encourage you to give us both the parent information as well as the youth information. Similarly, parents do not have to receive it if they choose not to. One of the beauties of Flocknote is it's set up purposely for churches in light of everything that's gone on in our world over these past decades. And it's safe because there are multiple administrators who all have equal access, nothing ever gets deleted, and everybody has the opportunity to make sure there's nothing going on that should not be. So if a parent, for instance, does not want their phone or their email box flooded with messages, then all of those youth ministry team and staff and so forth, they all have access and they'll be monitoring all of the activity safely. But in order to reach the youth of our parish, whether it be middle school or high school, we're going to send out newsletters twice a month for the middle school bracket and the high school bracket. And we want it to go directly to the youth as well as to the parents. So anybody can sign up, cc-catholic to 84576. While you're there, in addition to the youth ministry ones, you'll see some other parish groupings, as well as Father Frank has his pastor updates that he frequently sends out as well. And you can see that we're on Instagram, cc_Catholic_YM for youth ministry. So those are the best ways to stay in touch. We didn't use them a lot over the summer because everyone was vacationing, but now as the year gets ramping up, even if it's virtual, we're going to be using those extremely actively, and that includes for polls and other updates. So we encourage you to sign up if you have not done so already. To help with these musters or Sunday night live streams, we want you to get involved. Find your schtick. What is it that you can give to us? Do you want to be interviewed? Do you want to do a video? Do you want to do like a TikTok kind of thing? Church approved, of course. Do you have some kind of a talent you want to share with us, a musical instrument, or maybe you can juggle, or maybe you want to show us some kind of art project that you've done, or maybe, you're great at who knows what. We would love to have that shared with the community. Maybe you can do some food or restaurant reviews, or maybe good deals that are around town. Maybe you could talk to us about the best part of church, or show us a picture if you're good at catching that incredible sunrise or sunset, or maybe God's majesty in the weather of the moment. That's the kind of thing. Be creative. And if you want us to do a shtick that it's not necessarily yours, but you have suggestions for material, we certainly would love that feedback as well. You know, we want as many youth involved, but you have to imagine the Archdiocese has all kinds of protocols in place. We'll get you through those hoops, but nobody wants to just stare at me the whole time. Obviously, we in the spring we brought in Father Bill Robinson. We can bring in Father Frank. We can bring in our deacons and other members of the staff as we did in the spring. We brought in our music staff and did name that tune trivia. We did trivia based on the week. We did trivia based on favorite foods and all kinds of other crazy stuff. We're going to try to make it fun, but we need you to help steer it by giving us your feedback as well as participating. So please be creative. Please be part of it for the sake of everybody so we don't have to watch me choke and drink iced coffee to try to revive the show. Um, I wouldn't be doing my full job unless I didn't remind us that we are here in the Archdiocese of Boston, the year of the Eucharist this year. So we're supposed to really focus on Christ coming to us in full communion. Obviously, at church, that's ideal to sacramentally receive Christ in um, Holy Eucharist at church. But as we know, Cardinal Sean O'Malley, our Archbishop, has continued his dispensation of the requirement to attend Mass if you do not choose to. And so, if you do not actually physically come to Mass, we hope you're at least tuning into Mass. And here on this very CC Catholic Community YouTube channel, we do live stream every Saturday, 4 o'clock Mass now through some generous donors. We have a camera permanently mounted in St. Irene Church in Carlisle. We are soon, eventually, coming down the road here, going to do the same thing at Holy Family in Concord. That's still in the works, but it's coming along shortly. And we'll be able to live stream from both of those locations as well. And that's a great opportunity for us to use for prayer and worship or adoration, or if we want to do a little roundtable discussion, we can go live at any time through those means as well. But check out Mass is my point. How much importance do you place on God in the course of an entire week? If we have 7 days, each of 24 hours, I think we can give less than an hour to God in the form of Mass every week. If you're not comfortable or ready to do that, either online or in person, okay, that's fine. But try to find a little bit each time to commune with God and to have some kind of opportunity for God to enter your mind and heart and your soul so that you can be, on the heavenly track. We're all called to holiness. Let me see if I got all my notes here. We'd love for you to send us some feedback one way or another. Just to say that you're out there, that you saw this video this evening. You like the format, you don't like the format, you hate the graphics, you can't stand my face or my voice, or you want an interview with this, or here's a great segment idea that we want you to add all the time. We want to hear something like that. Those newsletters that we send out, we're thinking first and third Sunday of every month will go, a high school newsletter will go out on Flocknote, and the second and fourth Sundays of every month will be a newsletter for middle school events and other things for middle school youth ministry. It's crazy things like what time of day would you want to receive that? Some people want it at 6 in the morning, some want it middle of the day, some want it at night. So just send us that feedback, whatever it is, any kind of feedback that you have. We'd love to hear from you. And of course, anytime you have a prayer request, you can always send that along as well. And you've got the email address right there at the bottom. For any of our folks that have entered 9th or 10th grade, we remind you to sign up for religious education. Our confirmation program is going to be virtual, at least for the first few months, and depending on where the world brings us, we may be virtual the entire year. We have a really cool plan. There's a lot of work involved behind the scenes to bring that plan to fruition. I know that school is a drag, completely virtual, but we also will provide a confirmation program this year which gives you some thought-provoking topics to consider. It'll also give you some more information from a variety of sources. And then the third part, we want to try to bring together a roundtable, which could include you. It will include our peer ministers as well as volunteer adult catechists or teachers of the faith, and perhaps members of the parish staff, to come together and have like a little roundtable. And then there'll be a chance for our 9th and our 10th grade confirmation candidates in each program to respond with a quick written response. So it'll be a little different format this year, but the cool thing is we'll send you a video similar to this with all the links and short videos and the moderated discussions and so forth. And you can do it in your own time and space over at least a week's time, and in some cases you'll have multiple weeks to complete those. And it'll be a little bit more of a standardized format, but we hope you'll enjoy it. Give it a shot. You do have to register for confirmation. We do have a kickoff scheduled for October 4th, where we'll go through a lot of this and do question and answer. Hopefully you get registered before that kickoff, but our first sessions for 9th and 10th grade confirmation will start on October 18th. So we are pretty much a month away from the first sessions. We're less than a month, only a couple weeks away from the kickoff. Also, if you have questions for Ask a Priest, we're going to bring that segment back. A lot of the questions we got in the spring were, I'm going to say boldly, they were too polite. They didn't get into the controversial or heavy-hitting topics of the day, or perhaps the church's stance on certain topics. So send in your questions to that email address down below, and we'll bring in Father Bill or Father Frank or maybe other priests as the need comes along. And we will make sure that we bring the Ask a Priest segments in. They don't have to be heavy-hitting either. You could ask, Father Bill loves to run. You could ask him about track and field, as we had questions in the spring, or favorite foods, whatever you want. I don't care. Do what you want, but we're happy to bring some humanity into the outside of Mass side of the total person. And I think that's pretty much it for now. Really quick, something that's exciting. This weekend that we are concluding today, September 13th, we added another in-person Mass opportunity at Holy Family. So in addition to the Saturday 4 at St. Irene, which is also, as I mentioned, live streamed, and then that tape stays on the YouTube channel. But now Holy Family in Concord has an 8 a.m., which was added this morning, September 13th, as well as the 10 for 10 or 10:30, I believe it's 10, at Holy Family. But starting next weekend on September 20th, it looks pretty good that we will have, in addition to the 4 on Saturday, we'll also add an 11 a.m. at St. Irene Sunday mornings. So each parish will have 2 in-person opportunities. Remember, if you want to attend Mass in person, you do have to visit the Sign Up Genius link in the bulletin or call the parish offices during business hours during the week, because during these coronavirus times, you do have to reserve your spot in advance, and then for contact tracing, we need to know who was in the building just in case and so forth. But why do I bring that up? Great chances to come together for Mass. We really need to see more people at Mass. If you want to be a lector, if you're confirmed already and you want to be a Eucharistic minister, we haven't quite brought those back yet, but you get my point. But the big one is, as I mentioned at the beginning, we really could use some people to help sanitize the church. And I'd really love to see more youth involved in that, because it'll be a great way to come together, see each other, and do a tremendous service to the other parishioners in our faith communities who have already been doing it now for a little while, and really they need a little bit of break. And now as we add Masses, they also need some more people to put in the rotation. You don't have to do it every week, but if you're interested, email down below and I'll get you connected to all the people that you need to be connected to make that successfully take place. So that's pretty much it for tonight. I don't think we'll go too much further. That's enough out of my voice, I think. We do have some fun ideas for these musters in the future, or these live streams, but we want to hear from you as well. Most importantly, we really want you to send your ideas this week so that the peer ministers on Saturday the 19th, which is six days from now, will know what type of youth activities we can build at the high school and middle school levels right out of the gate here, as we begin to try to find some ability to safely and smartly come together to do Christian and Catholic stuff so that life feels a little bit normal. Listen, it's great to have you tuning in. Please share this with anybody else. The recorded video will stay on the YouTube channel, so you can check back to it or send the link to others to check it out at any time. Please plan to join us. If you want to join us live, there is an advantage in future Sundays, because there will be contests right in the live stream that you can participate in, and then there'll be a second chance for those who are watching it recorded as well. So we'll bring those back as well. And we'll have some cool segments, and that all starts next Sunday on September 20th. But for now, just a reminder, what was today's scripture reading? The gospel passage from Matthew chapter 18 reminded us to forgive. If nothing else, even if you did not catch Mass, you still can on the YouTube channel. But even if you haven't, we all know what it's like to make mistakes, and we all know how awesome it is to know that God will always accept us and is always unconditional with us, no matter how bad we ever get. And will always be there to guide us and steer us as we go forward. So let us also forgive each other 70 times, 7 times, and always, always, always be that light for those in our world who need it so badly. We thank you very much for being a part of this live stream, this muster, if you will, and hope that we will attract even more people, invite more and more people in. And even if you're older, you certainly have some feedback. Send us your feedback, send us your thoughts. We don't have to share your name publicly. If you want to keep that private, we're happy to do just that. Thank you for tuning in. Have a great week ahead. And may you at least smile 5 more times in the course of the next hour. But hopefully you make someone else smile at least 5 times as well. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night.